Hello, everyone. My name is Anastasia, and I welcome you to the Never State channel. We are an international real estate agency selling properties in over 40 countries around the world for investment, for living, for obtaining residency permits and citizenship. And today I want to talk to you about a country that many people still underestimate. That country is Oman. To be honest, Oman is not about hype. Oman is about a smart entry into a market that isn't overheated yet, where you can actually buy quality real estate by the sea, obtain a residence permit, and protect your capital. So, what sets Oman apart from other popular destinations? Well, first of all, let's start with the fact that by purchasing any property in Oman, you can obtain a residence permit. In other words, this is currently one of the main reasons why Oman is gaining popularity. There is no minimum threshold for purchasing real estate here, meaning it literally starts from $0. Accordingly, you buy property, and after the purchase and receiving the documents, you can apply for your residence permit, which you can obtain both for yourself and for your family. And it's important to understand that real estate in Oman is acquired as full ownership. There are special zones called ITC zones, where foreigners can buy real estate in Oman and own it just as you would, say, in your own country. That is, it is absolutely full ownership, not leasehold, not a 99-year or a 100-year lease, but actual full ownership. And the second main advantage of buying real estate in Oman is, of course, the taxes. And for many investors, this is the main advantage and the reason they decide to enter the Omani market. Because Oman has historically been seen as a country with a very lenient tax environment, since there are no suffocating taxes on private property owners, and there isn't the usual tax burden that many are familiar with, which typically eats into the profitability of real estate, or, for example, when opening a business in the country. Of course, in any country, there are some registration fees, charges, so-called service payments, and perhaps a fee to the management company for renting out your property. But in Oman, there is no income tax, no tax on the resale of property, and no inheritance tax. That is, everything you pay at the beginning is VAT, which is 5%, and accordingly, some small additional payments, such as a registration fee and also service charges. And if you do not manage the property yourself but hand it over to a management company, then accordingly you pay them. We also take all of this into account when calculating ROI. If you are interested in real estate in Oman for investment, fill out the form below the video or leave any comment. We will contact you and send you investment return calculations, where we will definitely take all this into account and show the actual profitability of the project you are interested in. Let's return to the advantages that Oman offers. Third, I would highlight the growth of tourism and the increase in ROI potential. Oman is a country that is systematically developing its tourism sector. And it's important to note here that tourism in Oman is not a one-time event or some temporary influx, right? This is a strategic direction for the country. The country and the Sultan have a strategy called Vision 2040, within which tourism is one of the top priorities for Oman's development. Accordingly, the country will also be investing its own resources. Tourism is growing in the country, and this is also statistically confirmed. You can see this in the numbers. The growth of tourism, well, that means an increase in demand for rentals. An increase in demand for rentals leads to higher prices for good properties in the right locations. It's also worth noting that the development of tourism leads to the growth of infrastructure, the emergence of new hotels, promenades, restaurants, and improvements in service and logistics. So all of this pushes the real estate market upward, especially in projects where there is life and infrastructure. Now let's move on to the next point that I would like to discuss with you today. Why has Oman become interesting compared to other countries? Because Oman is actually a rare combination of a safe and stable country with truly breathtaking nature. After all, there are white sand beaches and blue seas there. In some cities, there is greenery, mountains, and beaches. It is simply a country with amazing natural beauty. It is also a blend of culture and a peaceful lifestyle. At the same time, there is a gradual but very confident growth in the real estate market and, of course, tourism in the country. There are countries where everything is already quite expensive and the market is overheated. There are countries where it's cheap, but the rules aren't very clear. Maybe in some places the country's potential isn't entirely clear, right? Oman is now hitting that golden middle ground where you can still enter at a reasonable price, since we offer properties starting at around $110,000 in Oman. Accordingly, this is a relatively low price, but at the same time, the country is showing its enormous potential. Also, let me probably explain to you what types of real estate are usually chosen in Oman and why. so you can better understand the investor's logic. The first type, which is probably at the peak of popularity right now. And why is that? Because it's clear in terms of investment returns. This is resort property by the water. In other words, this is the option most often chosen for short-term rentals, because there are tourists who come and rent your properties. There are management companies that handle this. There are some clear statistics for this segment. You can more or less predict what your property's occupancy will be. Accordingly, this is real estate that sells itself with its story. The sea, beaches, even dolphins, hotels, infrastructure, leisure. Accordingly, if you choose the right property, it can be very, very liquid. The ROI for such projects, even with conservative estimates, reaches 15, 16, or even higher percent. The second format, which is no less popular in Oman, is real estate in developing urban areas. This is an option for those who want stable long-term rentals or are buying for living and relocation. That is, it could be real estate in business clusters, properties near universities, or near some office spaces. Convenient transportation accessibility, so here it could be either residential or commercial real estate. Such properties may have less developed infrastructure, at least within the project itself, but they often provide more predictable rental income. The third type of project, which is also rapidly gaining popularity in Oman, is these kinds of communities, cities of the future, and family-oriented projects. In Oman, there is currently a real trend of building entire districts, where the concept includes their own parks, schools, clinics, infrastructure, and amenities for comfortable family living. In such projects, people are not just buying walls, not just a villa or an apartment, they are acquiring a true lifestyle. In other words, there is no need to leave your community. You have absolutely everything within this community, and accordingly, this means that liquidity increases over time. If we look at it from an investor's perspective, here's an important point. I would note that Oman is not a market, well, probably like other countries as well, where you can buy just anything and make a profit. There are nuances here that are very important to consider in order to acquire a truly liquid project. For this, we are happy to consult you on those projects that have already demonstrated growth and on which you can earn well. What is important to consider in Oman? Let me repeat once again. First, the legal model of ownership. Foreigners cannot simply buy real estate anywhere in Oman. There are special IT zones, as I have already mentioned. Accordingly, you need to buy specifically there, but you can acquire full ownership. Second, of course, there are certain minimum expenses, service charges, and management fees. And all of this is very important to take into account when calculating ROI. But there are no taxes, which increases the investment potential of your project. It is also important to choose the right location and the right project so that it is as liquid as possible, grows well in value, or can be rented out, and everything depends on your strategy. Or if you are considering it for living, it should meet all your requirements. Why is Oman interesting as a market right now? Because right now, you can put together a very strong combination here. This is an asset in a growing tourist country with a clear investment logic, tax efficiency, and obtaining a residence permit through real estate as an additional bonus to owning the asset. If you are interested in Oman, leave us any comment under the video or fill out the form below our video, and we will be happy to consult you, select suitable properties for you, explain why they are right for you depending on your strategy and budget, and tell you what to do for making a purchase. Subscribe to our channel Never State. We are happy to tell you here about projects in Oman, about specific locations within Oman, and about which projects are truly worth considering. You can already find something on our channel. Have a great day, everyone, and goodbye.